Okay, so basically, Guam was acquired by the United States through the Treaty of Paris, and during World War II, Guam was invaded uh, by the Japanese military, and then the United States came back to reclaim Guam, and we became an unincorporated territory of the United States. Um, with that, the Organic Act was signed, which made the residents of Guam U.S. citizens, but we really are second-class citizens. We don't have representation in the Senate. We have a non-voting representative in Congress, which is basically like a glorified lobbyer. Um, we don't vote for president, but we fall under all U.S. federal laws and regulations. Um, Yeah. So what's happening now, to kind of just sum it up, basically with the closure of the expected closure of the base in Okinawa, the plan is to relocate a large number of the Marines in Okinawa to Guam. They plan to move 8,000, it's actually 8,600 Marines and their 9,000 plus dependents to Guam. For those of you who are not familiar with Guam, we are located in Micronesia, and our island is 31 miles long and 7 miles wide. Right now, the United States military occupies roughly about 30% of the total landmass, and we have one of the largest naval bases in the world. The process for this move requires what's called a DEIS, a Draft Environmental Impact Statement. For those of you who are not familiar with this, usually a lengthy DEIS is about 350 pages long, and a normal DEIS is roughly about 100 pages. So for a lengthy DEIS, they give you 90 days to comment and respond and offer alternatives. Guam's DEIS for the military buildup was 11,000 pages, and we were given 90 days to respond. The Department of Defense chose Guam because South Korea, the Philippines, California, and Hawaii all said no, but Guam was never asked. The idea here is that Guam is what they call sovereign U.S. soil, and it gives them what they call freedom of action, which means that they can basically do whatever they want without having to deal with a foreign government. The reason why Guam is ideal for this move is because a lot of it really has to do with our political status and our lack of power within the political system. And so it creates a difficult situation for the local government and the residents of Guam, in that we don't really have any kind of control over what they do or do not do. Just to give you an idea of some of the ways that this buildup will affect us and how they plan to implement it. What's happening in Guam now is that they're selling this to the people as our economic savior. Over 25% of our population lives below the poverty line. Unemployment is at a very high rate right now, and a lot of folks are really hurting. We enlist more soldiers per capita than any place in the world, and a lot of that is basically the poverty draft. We're being told that there will be 33,000 new jobs created with this buildup, and that there will be a lot of different employment opportunities for the people of Guam. But after reading the DEIS, it turns out that local residents will actually only capture about 17% of that 33,000 new jobs. A majority of the work is really temporary construction work. And in the DEIS, it actually states that they expect the unemployment to skyrocket once the construction phase is over. They also expect this situation to create, they quote, a recession-like atmosphere on the island in 2014. They state that there's millions of tax dollars that will benefit the local government, and that we will absorb these tax dollars through the population boom. but they don't take into account the amount of money that our local government will spend to service this new population. Just to give you an idea, they predict that Guam's population at the peak of the buildup phase will reach roughly an additional 80,000 people. Our population is roughly about a little bit over 170,000 people. The DEIS expects that our hospital, which every day our hospital is in the red. We're always at maximum capacity and short of beds. And they predict that we will see roughly about 41,000 more patients. Public health, social services, Department of Mental Health will see about 23,000 more patients. They expect us to build 5 new public schools to accommodate roughly about 8,000 new students that will come into our public school system. And keep in mind that all of these infrastructural upgrades that they expect from us are not being supported by the federal government. So we're expected to bear the burden of this buildup and accommodate 80,000 people, through tax dollars. One of the big things, 2 major things that they plan for the buildup are, one is the dredging of 71 acres of coral reef in Apra Harbor to house their nuclear-powered aircraft carrier. The U.S. military already occupies Kilo Wharf, it's a suitable site for their aircraft carrier, but they already have one parked there, and so they want another space. They also plan to acquire ancestral land for a live firing range. There are cultural artifacts in these areas. Many of them are recreational areas, and a lot of the property is owned by private landowners who refuse to sell or lease. And so eminent domain is really kind of lingering in the background now. The military has come out and said that they do not want to use eminent domain, but they've said that before and done it anyway. They say that the area they plan to dredge has little to no life. The coral is dead, but our local marine biologists have found that there are corals that have not been identified yet, and they could be endemic to the region. It's actually a vibrant ecosystem, and there's no way to mitigate the dredging of this reef, which could suffocate the rest of reef's down current. The last thing that I want to talk about, because I gotta finish this up, is our water system. The US EPA did a review of the environmental impact statement and they rated it insufficient and environmentally unsatisfactory, which is the lowest possible rating for a DEIS. They predict that Guam's water infrastructure cannot handle 80,000 new people, and that our wastewater system will eventually cause contamination of our freshwater lens. And basically, we would have to dig up 22 new water wells, and there's a possibility that our entire freshwater system could be depleted, which is why they include a desalinization plan in their DEIS. All right, there's a lot more stuff to go over, but I'm gonna cut it there. If you wanna talk to me, please see me after the panel.